Stan coming?
Everybody? Okay. Good evening. Welcome. I'm going to call the Sort of Board of Trustees meeting for June to order. As always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We do not have any hearings from citizens today, at least signed up. Is there anybody in the gallery who would like to speak? All right, seeing none, we can move right on. Most of what I was going to update is actually in Andy Aiello's comments for today, so I'll let him take the spotlight on those things. I think it is good to mention that we have the safety luncheon later this week, and it is always a great event if you can be there to celebrate all the amazing work focused on safety that is done at Metro, well, really every day the whole year. As you guys know, we did not have committee meetings this month, relatively light agenda. So that means this meeting will go through everything and no reports from the committee. So let's jump right into that. The first thing, though, which we do have to do every month, is approve the board minutes from May. I'll entertain a motion. KZ moved. Can I get a second? Properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say left. Abstentions. All right, the minutes are approved. Next on the agenda, we have a briefing item, financial results from May. Mr. Walker.
Start first with our standard summary. Oh, can you hear me? Going to start first with our standard summary that we have. For the month, our revenue came in at $14.8 million, which was unfavorable to budget by about $173,000. You know, the main driver of that had to do with our sales tax revenue for the month. That was unfavorable by $545,000. And the rest of the revenue line items actually were favorable to our budget. So a good news story with all the other line items. Sales tax, as we know, the timing goes up and down. It's not something that we can control, but that was the main driver of the unfavorability that we had for the month. Going down to the total expenses, they came in right at $14.8 million as well. That was unfavorable to the budget by $612,000 or 4.3%. Main driver that caused the unfavorability we had this month were the wages and benefits we've been talking about, along with our fuel expenses and the other line. Wages and benefits, that's an unfavorable variance that we believe is going to continue. We're overstaffed, so a good news story on that. Consciously, we made the decision to be overstaffed on our operator headcount. So at the end of the month, we were about 10 positions over the budget, which gives us a lot more flexibility operationally. And you'll see those results in the operations as far as how that helps the operations team with all of their KPIs that they have. Netting those two numbers together, you'll see that it comes out to basically a zero number. So call it break even for the month, which was unfavorable to the budget by $785,000. So not great news as far as that goes. When we look at it, we have some ups and downs during the month, and some of the items we couldn't control, but we do have our eye on these items. One thing I do want to bounce back up again on the expenses. We've talked about fuel an awful lot as an agency, and fuel's been very volatile, since the beginning of March, and it's something that we've managed with our hedging. But just want to kind of highlight a couple things here. We started the month of May with our fuel, the price we would pay at the pump at about $4 a gallon. Into the month at would be $3.84. So or $3.54. You would think not a lot of swings either way during the month, but the high for the month was $4.16, and the low was $3.54. So quite a wild swing during the month. And then when you look at what's happening so far in June, June 15th, it was 327. Now it's down under 310. So a lot of movement here. And what I like to do is just from a reference standpoint, thinking about Metro and what that means for fuel. If we were unhedged, a dime change per gallon for the month is about a $25,000 number for us. So that's kind of just in your mind. When you see these wild swings, every dime is $25,000 for us. So it is very meaningful for us. Apologies for having to go back there. Looking at our ridership. Yes.
What would the number have been if your hedging wasn't as successful as it is? I mean, like, what are we?
The number would have been about a double. So our hedging activity for the month, the gain was about $300,000.
Okay.
Mr. Gibson. So you would think a raw number would be about that.
Okay.
But because it's not exact, the hedging piece that we do is a financial hedge, and the delivery, so they don't line up exactly, but it would be well over, close to $400,000 or more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a significant number for us when you look at our budget, when we're managing it. Looking at the ridership was favorable for the month. Great news there. Several days again during the month, we're above 50,000 riders, so good news on the ridership front. Stealing a little bit of Bill's thunder on that one. It's great to see that. Significant improvement year over year as well. Let's go to the next page, Natalie. This is our year-to-date look. We've talked about the left side, the month-to-date activity. You can see on the left side, we talked about the revenue line items, all basically black with the exception of the sales tax. Going to the right, a lot of swings, and you can see the operating revenue year-to-date is about 2% under budget. Total operating revenue is 2% under budget. Total revenue is less than 0.5% under budget. And then looking through the total expenses, less than 0.5% as well. So good news there. And when you look at these year-to-date numbers, we want to keep in mind that this now has 3 months worth of actual sales tax data in it. So when you look at our sales tax data, while we did have an unfavorable variance for the month of $545,000, you look at it year-to-date, basically spot on. So we do expect wild movements up and down, but we feel pretty good about our raw budget number on the sales tax line, and it's something that we're managing. When you look down below on the year-to-date figures, you can see that we're under budget by $480,000, which we want to be as close as we can, but as we mentioned, we're consciously having our staffing above the budget figure right now. And when you just back it out and say, okay, $1 million was the unfavorability on the wages line, and year-to-date we're under $500,000, it shows that some good fiscal management of the line items that we can control as well. So good news on that front. Next page, Natalie. This is our standard sales tax look. Generally speaking, we have some good news. We had a negative variance for this month, but the ups and downs bring us basically whole for the year. It's something, as you guys know, we do keep a close eye on all the time, knowing that is the main driver of our revenue. Again, that is about 70% of our revenue comes from the sales tax revenue. And the last page we have here, Natalie, is our standard look at our total cash we have on hand, along with our future obligations. This one we want to highlight, as we always do, to show while we have $118 million, $117 and change in the bank in investments and operating cash, we have obligations for that. These obligations aren't just for 2026 or 27. It could be for multiple years, but we do identify the variances or the future obligations that we have, put those on the sheet, and the bottom line comes out to be a positive number for us at the end. So it shows that we do have cash on hand after these future obligations are utilized. Any questions from the group?
What's do we anticipate to be over on wages and benefits for the remainder of the year?
Yes, sir, we do.
And then what are the trade-offs? Is it, on-time ridership, if it's operation? Yeah.
There are a couple pieces. One is we have been working really since 2020 to try to get a full operator headcount complement to match our service level. There are service additions that are budgeted in August, and we were trying to hit that target of about 570 operators in August. We hit that target early, and we wound with 575 operators, which is the first time we have been fully staffed with fixed yard operators, like I said, since 2019. So what we're doing now is we're trying to retain all of those operators. We're ahead of schedule in terms of our service additions that were budgeted in August. So that delta will be smaller.
Right, and it'll fly down, you'll carry it through.
And we'll
the
carry
rest
it
of the year.
through. And we'll line up with the budget. The second thing is, we mentioned last month, we have unbudgeted additional service that's going to occur on top of that in August, and that's for service associated with connecting the UC, Blue Ash, and Uptown campuses. So that'll show a negative variance to budget on our expenses, but we're bringing in revenue to offset that variance. So all in all, we still feel like when we get to the end of the year, we're gonna hit our total budget where it should be. We didn't want to slow down on the hiring front because you never want to slow down there. The other metrics that you'll see on an operations side is that allows us to operate at really high service quality.
Yeah.
So it's a temporary hit to the budget. It also allows us to do additional training and refresher training, and those things are a lot easier when you have a full staff. So we're talking about a delta, as Tim mentioned, about 10 or so operators over a complement of 575. So it does result in a variance, but we'll manage to that come the end of the year.
Anything else? All right, thank you, everyone.
And I think it's safe to say that that high level of service quality has a positive impact on ridership, which is a primary target right now too, and leads to more revenue. So there's some other benefits that come along with this period. So thank you very much, Mr. Walker. Looks like we have next on the agenda a proposed resolution. Mr. Aiello.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is seeking approval for the MOU that we have with the City of Cincinnati. So typically when we do procurements, they show up in the procurement matrix. This is not a procurement because this is one governmental agency asking to use the resources of another governmental agency, and so we do that through an MOU platform. This is our agreement with the city for their assistance at Government Square and other transit centers for community service officers. We call them 311. And these are the non-police force that are part of the city complement of public safety that help us with quality of life issues at our transit centers. We came to the board and you all approved this MOU last year. This is just the normal re-up of that service. We're recommending that we keep the same level of service that we had this past school year. With this coming school year, it was successful, and this is just year number 2, seeking your approval. Happy to answer any questions.
Sorry. I'm not seeing any questions, so I think this would be a roll call vote. Yes?
Second.
Is it a roll call though? Yeah. motion.
Neil made a motion.
So is it a roll call vote? Yes, they are. Okay.
It's a
so
roll
I needed a
call.
motion
No.
for a roll call vote. It was Neil, and I didn't get the second. Chelsea seconded. So
So with no questions, roll call. Ms. Mott?
Yes.
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Ms. Clark? Mr. Dreehouse?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Sheets?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Excellent. Passes. All right, we have 2 procurements. And the first is a contract modification for advertising agency. And Mr. Walker, you're going to take it?
I can go through them if you want me to, Mr. Etheridge.
Okay.
As Ms. Etheridge mentioned, we have 2 procurements this month, both rather straightforward. The first one is the advertising agency of record. This is simply moving monies that were in another GL account that we were handling recruiting efforts on our own. We're moving some of those dollars over to Gatesman because they have a more targeted approach in their efforts. So just moving those monies over to the Gatesman contract that we currently have. That was competitively bid last year. This is a sole source movement because it is just moving our current budgeted dollars that we have from an operating standpoint to a different line item. Both of these procurements are budgeted. The first one we just mentioned is local operating. The second one here is for the right-of-way that we have. We're obligated to maintain that. There were some inspections, And this is a budgeted capital expense that we have to repair a bridge overpass on the right-of-way. And again, these are both budgeted, and you can see the various spending for the max component on this sheet as well. Any questions from the group?
I'm not seeing any questions on either item, but I think we need to vote on them separately.
You can vote on them together if you wish
We
to.
can, okay, great, thank you. Then I will entertain a motion for
I'll
both
move
items.
to approve both procurement items as
Mr.
outlined
Treehouse
by
got
Mr.
it.
Walker.
And I heard a few different seconds, so take your pick. Any last questions or concerns?
How many contractors did we have bid on the bridge job? Just the 3? How many contractors did we have bid on the bridge job? Just 3?
We identified 37 vendors, but only 3 of them did bid, correct?
Okay.
All right, any other questions, follow-up? Hearing none, I think we can proceed.
Ms. Amat?
Yes.
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Treehouse?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Sheets?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
All right, that gets us through all the action items. We do have, I think, about 5 briefing items to work through, always starting with the good news.
Good evening. All right, so our April Silver Wheel winners, we'll start with our Leadership Award, which is Brett Isaacs, who's in the audience with us. And Brett is being recognized for his demonstration of just the integrity and accountability he has and his commitment to excellence and the support he provides his team across the board and volunteering always, his time and expertise, always anticipating needs. And we just want to congratulate Brett. He's been named Interim Director of Safety and Security and with the recent retirement of Mike Wow. So congratulations, Brett, on that. Continue the great work. And then we have on the admin side, Maria Jones. Maria is Program Manager in the Culture and Engagement Department within HR. Maria does a lot of work with our volunteer efforts for our employees and just does a phenomenal job, very professional in partnering with all of the different organizations that we partner with from a volunteer standpoint. March of Dimes, Kroger, Tank. A bunch of us are going to the Free Store Food Bank tomorrow to volunteer, especially some of the ELT members. So she is always the one to orchestrate those types of efforts for the employees. And we've seen some great impact and success from that. So congratulations to Maria. Next we have Queensgate operator Carlton Kennedy. And Carlton's being recognized for a recent issue he had on his bus where he had a very hostile and very abusive passenger on the bus. He was really able to remain calm and de-escalate the situation, given there was himself and other passengers on the bus, to be sure to keep everybody calm and composed, didn't provoke the individual, was able to get it handled accordingly. So we just congratulate Carlton for his calm thinking in this type of a situation. Also, we have Queensgate maintenance employee Gregory Daniels, and Gregory is being recognized for going above and beyond. He's always does cleaning in the garages, and he's always finding places that could use a little extra attention and always puts forth the extra effort to make sure those areas get cleaned thoroughly. So we just want to thank Greg for all of his great work there. Next, we have Bond Hill operator Deanna Longmire. Bond Hill operator Deanna was actually recognized by an employee who rides her bus and who sent in a statement just talking about how she greets every customer and always makes sure that she is lowers the lift for people even with strollers, not just with wheelchairs, but with strollers as well. How polite she is, asking individuals when necessary to turn the music down, always very polite and thanking them for doing so, and just always making the day, what could be a hectic day, very pleasant to start your day out as with her as a driver. So thank you to Deanna. And then we have Bond Hill maintenance employee, Brendan Smith. And Brendan is one of the employees we utilize for a lot of our transfer of buses between the main shop and Bond Hill. And he is always making sure that we have plenty of buses ready to go to meet our run so we can get our work out. Great with fostering teamwork and spends a lot of time with new C-rates trying to help them acclimate to their job. So we thank Brendan for his efforts. And then finally, we have Access employee, Antoine Montgomery. And he is one of our go-to employees at the Access Division for special events. Always very friendly with his demeanor and always just represents Metro and Access in an extremely positive demeanor, always volunteering to work on his days off. And so just for his professionalism, his positivity with his coworkers and customers, thank you to Antoine and congratulations to all of the April Silver Whale winners. And then just briefly, we had recently, thanks. We had our first, it wasn't our first career fair, but it was our first all-position career fair. So we had a career fair recently on the June 13th. We were hiring for all of our positions, maintenance, access, and big bus. We had over about 120 or so people that came out for the career fair. With the highest number we've seen in a long time for our maintenance population. We had over 40 maintenance candidates come out to be interviewed. We did interviews on the spots. We gave them a tour of the facilities for maintenance. We gave them a tour of the buses if they were interested in either the operator or the access bus. We had DJ food. It was a great event. We hope to get quite a few hires out of this. It takes some time to get them through the complete process in terms of the sourcing process. So we will keep you updated on that. But it was a great success, and we will continue to have events like that. You can see there in the pictures. They were, again, doing interviews on the spots and giving tours and so forth on the spot. So that is it.
Adrian, I have a question about that.
Yes.
Do we have a partnership with CityLink's Changing Gears program?
So yeah, we have recently hired a manager of workforce development that started about 2 months ago. And so she's out in the community establishing relationships with everyone. And CityLinks is one of the organizations that we have partnered with. Awesome. Yes, we just actually met with them and are working on a relationship with them as we speak, amongst other organizations, Cincinnati Works, Urban League. So we're a little bit of everywhere.
All right, great, thank you.
I have one question too. Anything to highlight on the kind of tremendous success with staffing in the past several months? Like any reasons in particular why?
So we've seen some great success. I mean, we work really hard on our hiring efforts. I mean, we've hired quite a few individuals every year in all our positions, but what we've also seen is some great success on our retention. So we put forward some great retention initiatives, which helps to balance the hiring, and as you lose folks, you're able to if you're able to retain more, then obviously you're able to get your net number up, which is what has allowed us to get to above head count. So it's both the hiring and it's the retention efforts that we have in partnership with operations amongst other groups.
And part of that, just to add to that, thank you, Adrian, is the first year success coaches on the fixed route side. We've seen that bear some fruit now, and we're thinking about doing that on the access side as well, because it's a huge deal when we can retain somebody, and the cost savings that we have for not training that person again is also huge to the organization. So that model's been good, and Bill can speak to that a little bit too.
Great.
I mean, as we see the ridership increases that we're seeing in this quarter and the employment increases, it's just a wonderful combination of events, isn't it? So congratulations, Adrian.
I get to give some good news. This is pretty exciting. But I do want to come back on the hiring piece and say that one of the reasons why we're overstaffed is there were a couple of things that happened at the same time. One of them was we were pushing really hard to hire to reach that number by August. But because of the first year success coaches and because we're working harder on retention during the training process as well, retention has improved, and it improved faster than what we had expected on our projection. So we ended up over, which is great because now we've started our refresher training. And as you know from our hiring focus, we have about 20% of our operator workforce has been hired in the last year. Yeah, so we've got some growing pains that we work through with those employees, but it's good to do that. Anyway, so. Mm-hmm. In the first year? Yeah, typically you would have less than 10%, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so my good news on that note, we talked about this, I think, before, but Brett and I attended the APTA conference, and we won the top award for transit system security from all of our peers across the country. And I wish I could take the credit for it, but I give the credit to Brett and his team and Mike Weil, because it's what we do every day, how we pay attention to details, and so it was really nice to get that award for all of us. So congratulations really to all of us. All right, more good news. Well, this is kind of the end of an era, right? It's a bittersweet moment where we congratulate Mike Weil on his retirement, 32 years of service to Metro. He outlasted me. I hired Mike, and I'm still here. If you don't know, Mike actually started as an operator and worked his way all the way up to Director of Safety and Security. So we wish Mike really great success and best of luck in his retirement. And Brett Isaac, as you heard, has taken the job as Interim Director of System Safety and Security, and we're excited about that too. So. And we might recognize Mike Weil a little bit Thursday at the safety banquet if you come. Next slide. Some more good news. And this one was personal for me. This is sort of the legacy that we see in transit, and we see it at Metro, where we have so many connections and so many family members that end up working at Metro. The Willison brothers that you see in the second picture there were both bus operators for us. Milt retired with 23 years, Barry retired with about 18 years. So a legacy there as Milt retired. The bigger legacy is amazing, and that is Tony Henson. You see him standing in the top picture there. Tony is the end of a legacy, the end of an era for Metro. When I started at Metro, there were 5 Henson brothers that worked in maintenance, and Tony is the last one. So all told, probably 150, 160 years of service to Metro between those 5 brothers. So congratulations to those long-term employees. And again, it's a real credit to the organization that we've built, that you support, that you help us do, that people stay. They ask for their friends and family to get employed here, and we have a lot of that. This is a big one too. Access achieved 0 preventable accidents in May, which is pretty amazing. 2 years ago, Access had about 70 employees, and we were operating the Access service. Now Access has 140 employees, and we also operate all of the Metro Now service out of that same facility. And in May, we were able to achieve 0 preventable accidents, and that's a commitment and a statement to safety for the entire organization. So congratulations to Access, and we did a Kona ice truck to celebrate with the employees. All right, next. Who has this
I've
one,
got
John?
that one. Yeah, thanks, Bill. That's tough to follow, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try. Let's spend a minute talking about Donald and Marion Spencer. This is a couple in Cincinnati that worked tirelessly for over half a century for educational equity and civil rights here. I mean, true trailblazers. Donald was the first African-American president of the Cincinnati Board of Realtors, the first African-American trustee of Ohio University, maybe outshined a little bit by Marion. Marion, the first African-American on Cincinnati City Council. She worked to desegregate schools. She worked to desegregate Coney Island. She chaired the Ohio Civil Rights Commission. She's the first female president the Cincinnati NAACP chapter. I could go on and on, but this is a short way of saying how humbling it is to receive this recognition from the Cincinnati Association at the 11th Annual Spencer Awards that awarded us with the Spirit of America Award for our efforts advancing opportunity, inclusion, equity, and community impact across the region. I mean, just really special recognition. We're humbled to have received it. Thank you very much to the Cincinnati Association to be associated not only with them, but with Donald and Marion Spencer. Very happy to share that news here tonight with the board. All right. Yeah, why not? Yeah. You might have heard this already, but let's spotlight this as well. I'm sure you're familiar with the great organization Adopt a Class and their mission to educate, mentor, empower students, empowering them to dream big dreams, envision big careers. At Metro, we just completed our 4th year as a partner in the program and our best yet. We were awarded the Best Overall Partner Award. And if you know this organization and those who are a part of it, I mean, it's a who's who list of the best organization in our region. So to receive this recognition is no small task. We have 7 mentoring teams. They bring passion to what they do. It's become an endearing part of our culture, and it doesn't happen without the efforts of so many. But let's take a minute to recognize Natalie Krusling. Natalie, since the onset of our partnership here, has really been the champion for the Adopt a Class efforts and everything that it takes to organize 7 teams that are full of, say, 7 to 8 mentors per team, of class field trips at Metro in our facilities, and she does it with just such a joy and passion for this work. So, I mean, truly something that fits the above and beyond your job description category. Natalie and the team does a great job. You could say the best overall job in the past year. So congratulations, Natalie, and the whole mentoring team. All right, got one more here for you. Our partnership with DAP wins a big award. So our partnership with the University of Cincinnati's DAP program received the 2026 Great Places Award in the Research and Planning category by the Environmental Design Research Association. This is for our bus stop design project. And check this out. The award entry was titled From Pole to Place, Research Through Design for Inclusive Transit, Wayfinding, and Placemaking. If we ever need a new mission statement, that's pretty good. That says it all right there. And the judges also remarked that this project really stands as a model for people-centered. I love that when you consider what we do, people-centered place planning in the field. So congratulations to everybody at DAP that we partner with, for Khaled and his team and their leadership and service here. Just another testament to the potential of this project as we roll this out and install these signs. Kudos to everybody. All right, Brad's got some outreach news for you, standing in for Brandy. Brad.
Guys took all the awards, but I do have more good news. We're hosting 2 public meetings tomorrow, June 24th, to get public feedback on the proposed new Route 70 UC connector, which Andy mentioned earlier, which will connect the UC Uptown campus with the UC Blue Ash campus. Virtual session, 10 a.m. to noon, and then we'll be at the downtown public library from 5 to 7 p.m. A great partnership that's been developed. Late last month, we partnered with the Anderson Art Collaborative on a new mural that went in at the Anderson Township Park and Ride. It was a great event that they held. They did a sketch up on the wall, and they did a paint by numbers with community members, and over 125 Anderson residents came out to help contribute to the painting. The mural features Anderson and then how transit unites communities, so we're really proud of the work that's been done there. They're putting some finishing touches on it at this point, but we hope to have a reveal here shortly. And then lastly, our public engagement team. They're out and about everywhere. I think we average somewhere around 350 events a year that our engagement team attends. You can see earlier this week, we were at the 3CDC Touch-A-Truck, West End Brady Block Party. We'll have a Metro 101 session tomorrow, and then we'll be at the Pride Parade and Festival on June 27th. I had a great opportunity to go out to the Great Outdoor Expo for Great Parks a couple of weeks ago and be part of the engagement team there. And it was really great to see the community come out, people's interest in Metro. They know about us, they know our expansion, and so it's really good to see young and old enjoy getting on a Metro bus at these events. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Brad. June, again, is Safety Month, and to plug again this Thursday's annual Safety Banquet, that's certainly going to be a special one. It's definitely a highlight of the Metro year, and there's nothing more important here, and we certainly have a lot to celebrate in the area of safety. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's the news.
That's a lot of good news. Thank you so much.
Hey, can I add one more piece just on the fly? Sure. So I have a friend who teaches at Roseland Condon School. Earlier this month, she told me about one of her students, a 6-year-old named Michael, who happens to have autism, who just because a teacher gave him a shirt that said Metro on it, just fell in love with Metro and the design of the Metro access. So she reached out to me because she knew I was involved with Metro and asked if we could get him a little sign or something. Well, Brandy and her team, wish you were here, but Brandy and her team went above and beyond. Just a couple days later, they mailed him a little pamphlet that says he's a Metro All-Star, and got him some other Metro swag, and he was running around the classroom. I got a little video of it, running around the classrooms, just yelling, "I love Metro!" So I wanted to give everybody involved with that a shout out for making somebody's day.
You can always tell stories like that. All right. Thank you very much. Now we have ridership and service quality reports.
All right, you get me for the whole thing. No HALED this month. We already talked about fixed route ridership. It is trending well. We've had our third month in a row where we beat 2025 last year. You also heard from Tim that we had several days over 50,000 in May. So really good news there. We do think that that is the combination of kicking off our marketing program, our stepped up marketing program, as well as the economy and gas prices. And some of us, we're torn between lower gas prices and higher gas prices. So we'll see how that goes, right? Next one. Access ridership is just below where we budgeted for the month, but overall is consistent with what our expectations are. Metro Now ridership is also strong. It's plateaued a little bit as the first 3 zones have sort of matured. 4 continues to grow at a slow, incremental, but consistent pace, and then we'll see that increase again when we add 5 and 6 later this year. Here's your productivity charts. Haled is usually better to talk about these than me, but if we've got any questions, I can answer those when I'm done. Next one. Fixed route on-time performance. You'll see a couple of red stars on April and May. Sometime in the middle of May, we discovered that we had done a software upgrade in April, and we ended up losing some data for April and for May. So April and May are a little bit off because we're missing some data, about 25% of our time points. We did get that fixed at the end of May, and we're already seeing an improvement in June. June right now is trending over 77% as compared to the 2 months in April and May. So we think that there was some degradation of the on-time performance measurement due to that. But we also can see that you see that we do have a seasonal drop in April and May. It happened last year as well. So we continue to work hard on that and continue to see if we can get improvement there. The access on-time performance, we had a little bit of a drop, not too much, but a little bit in May. But happy to say that we've already rebounded back in June, and we're at 92% for the month of June so far.
Hey, Bill. Can
Yes.
I just pause on that?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like for access in May, we had decreased ridership, productivity, and on-time performance. What would you kind of account for that, I guess, that month blip there?
Yeah. off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a statistical relationship, but I hadn't thought about that until you said it now. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Cool.
Metro Now on-time performance continues to be strong. No changes there. Fixed route service reliability is the one I think many of us are most proud of. We've got 4 months in a row where we beat last year, 4 months in a row where we made our goal. This is the number that shows the most with those increases in staffing, because we're getting all of our service out there. And that's pretty incredible from where we were from the end of COVID to now. So really a big accomplishment.
Bill, just to add one contextual point there, I remember in 2022, we had days where we were missing 350 trips a day. And for May of 26, we missed 410 for the month out of the 75,000. So just a sea change in terms of reliability from a customer perspective, which is really good, and we want to lock in those gains. And really, when we think about service reliability, this means we're getting all of the work out. That 0.6% is maybe you have a vehicle breakdown, maybe you have a traffic that means that trip is running more than 20 minutes behind, so it counts as a missed trip. But by and large, almost every single day, we have 100% of the work go out of the garage, which is a workforce thing. And what we've talked about for years is that this was the norm in transit prior to COVID and prior to our, huge tectonic workforce challenges that we had during COVID. And so now we are back at this new floor, I would say, and this is where we want to lock in the expectation of what we do. When we say we have service out there, we want it all to go out every day. And it's a high bar, but I think it's the bar that we should meet moving forward. And that has everything to do with the teamwork and the staffing and all that to get it done. So it is one slide, but it's a very, very important slide.
Customer service reports per 100,000 has leveled off in the upper 20s. We took a shot at the goal of 25. We may have gotten a little bit aggressive there based upon some of the things that we were seeing in the fourth quarter of last year. But we continue to look at those closely, and we monitor this. And we look for those trends. We do know that that significant number of newer operators in the workforce does cause some of those customer service issues to occur. The other thing that happens with customer service, our customers' expectations are higher now. When we were missing 300 trips a day, I think folks got to the point of saying it didn't make a difference to call in. Now it makes a difference if we miss a trip and they call in. So we are seeing customer expectations elevated, and quite frankly, I'll take that.
So have you also seen some good news in response to more on-time performance and more reliable service from the customers though as well?
Yeah, we're slowly seeing an increase in the number of commendations that we receive for our employees as well.
And ultimately, as Mr. Etheridge mentioned before, we think that's the foundation to continue to grow ridership.
Mm-hmm. Our final slide on service quality is miles between maintenance service interruptions. You can see while we were better than last year, the last two, April and May of last year, we also had some dips. We had some dips in April and May here. Those are the challenges that we have longer term with our maintenance department, but it's a slow process, but we're getting there. You do see that we are better than 2025, and we've seen some improvements from 2025, and we continue to work hard on improving that as well. That should be the service quality report, unless there's any questions.
A couple, Bill. Kind of following up with what Neil had asked. I noticed in years past, October, the ridership was way up. And then this year in May, it seemed like it's exceeded what it was in October of last year. I don't know, is there anything special, any festivals or anything like that were going on?
For Which, fixed route or access?
The fixed route.
On the fixed route side? No,
yeah, okay.
May was a normal May. I think we're seeing the increases are across the board, but we did see some significant increases in our express services.
And also with the Government Square, is the ridership still up down in Government Square with different incidents that have been taken? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I think we have a quick Government Square update on the agenda here in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gosh, the temptation to talk about how the missed trip numbers are a foundation for ridership is so strong, but I won't do it. OTP, of course, comes along next, right? And that will come as some of that 20% matures. So we'll keep driving for that. And then I am confident the ridership numbers return. Okay. Next, we have a Metro Rapid update.
We do. And continued good news in the Metro Rapid world. We have been doing a series of outreach to individual community councils that we had either not gotten to last time because we didn't have specific information for their community as of yet, but now we've gone back to Quarryville and Cuff and had 2 great meetings with them in the last couple of weeks. And then we were at Paddock Hills Assembly last night, and they had previously had some concerns about traffic, and the analysis from the traffic did show some modifications that we needed to make to the project, and we did, and they were very excited that we listened to their concerns, consulted with the city Department of Transportation Engineering, and were able to address their concerns. So all good news there. We have also been out and about at a number of different engagement activities shown on the screen there. We're hitting all of the festivals and events and the wonderful things that make Cincinnati wonderful, spreading the news about the BRT projects, Metro Rapid, and just getting some feedback about, have you heard about BRT? Do you know that it's coming? How can we get in touch with you in the future so that we can continue that great work that our team has been doing? From an engineering standpoint, we've been continuing our field investigations, which is really important to help identify the amount of unknown risk that we may encounter during a project, as well as to identify some of the problems that we would expect to see. Like, for example, we know that there are a lot of potholes in Cincinnati, and there are quite a few on Reading Road and on Vine Street Hill. And so there are places where we won't be doing much road construction, like in downtown. It's already concrete, so we don't have a lot of construction in that part. But going up, say, Vine Street is an area that we've worked with the city to help to improve as part of this project. So we're doing those details. CMAR is going to be starting their constructability reviews. We've already used them on a number of things. What do you think about this material? What have you seen work in other cities? What should we consider as options? And then we've also scheduled an internal, what's called a value engineering workshop, where the consulting team and the construction management team will bring in experts that are not familiar with the project. That's done on purpose so that you have an outside look at the design plans, and they're going to look and see if there's something that we can do to either make the project better with the money that we have, or if there's something we can do to reduce the cost of the project and build it in a less expensive way. And that is the purpose of our CMAR team. So we're really getting into the details on the engineering side, which is exciting as we get closer and closer to being able to have a final design and get ready for construction. So, next slide. We are still working to the same schedules and timelines that we've shared with you in the past. And that is by the end of 2026 to complete the design for the Reading corridor, obtain the grant agreement, and begin construction in early 2027. And then Hamilton is about 6 months behind that, which means we have more design work to do that will take us into the early parts of 27, obtain the grant agreement, and then begin construction in later 2027 for Hamilton. Yes, ma'am.
And forgive me for not knowing this, but is there a BRT stop scheduled by the new county office on Reading Road?
There is not. I think that occurred after the planning study had been completed for that. And I unfortunately wasn't here at that time, but it also right now doesn't have the level of density and transfers that we need to be able to justify a station location for the federal grant.
Gotcha.
And there to add to that point, there will remain underlying regular bus service on Reading Road that will continue to stop at that location as well.
Part of the reason why I asked is because this is my neighborhood. I see a lot more traffic of folks that are would typically go downtown, but are now coming to the county building, and quite frankly, there's no shelter, and so I think having a BRT stop there. I know that this is the middle of the planning phase, but if there's any room to evolve or at least address the fact that we have a major county sort of center now in Bond Hill that's right on the line of the BRT, I think that we should.
Absolutely.
It's not really BRT related per se, but it's about the Bond Hill location. This all kind of happened during my, we'll call it hiatus from these meetings. What consultation did the county do with Metro generally about getting people to this giant building they were purchasing for 5 agencies to move in?
We had meetings with county administration prior to the move, and we explained to them how the transit network works and that we would have bus service on Reading Road. It's the difference from the location is that downtown is served by over 40 routes with a 1-seat ride, and the Bond Hill location, if you're not in that Reading Road corridor, it requires you to take one of those 40 routes to the 43 and then transfer. So it is a much longer transit trip for many of the folks trying to get to there. So no, we did meet prior to their move. I don't know how deep that conversation went, but we talked about that dynamic. I'm not privy to their deliberations about how that fared it out in their overall decision.
Okay.
I'd just like to also point out that distance from Reading Road to that building, because that's significant, and it's not accessible, and it's not safe for folks to get from Reading Road in there, and to make that loop as much as they're going to need to.
Can you say more about that? So not safe, how many blocks do you think you need?
Oh, is it about a quarter of a mile?
Yeah, it's about 1,400 feet from the stop to the front door. We're talking with county administration about making sure that people know their options. For some folks, 1,400 feet is essentially three or 4 blocks, right? For some folks in certain weather, that's not a problem. For others, that is a challenge to traverse that. So we're talking with the county administration about what options do we have to try to make that connection. The other piece is, as was mentioned before, the Bond Hill Metro Now zone is the next zone to be launched. We were going to report on this in July, but I'll preview a little bit of this. That zone's western boundary was planned a couple of years ago to be Reading Road, and as we've done with all of our Metro Now zones, we have the ability to adjust. So we're going to adjust that zone to include the JFS facility in Bond Hill. And that will launch in August, which will be very helpful. If you're within that zone or if you take transit into that zone, you'll be able to do door-to-door to that. And then we're also making sure that folks that come to JFS have the information that they need if indeed they're access eligible, and so on and so forth. So we're working through all of that with the administration right now. We're in the middle of having a series of meetings about that, and we'll be rolling out some more information here soon.
Thanks for that, Andy.
Yep.
And just to point out, it's not just JFS. It's DDS. It's Veterans. Not Veterans Affairs. Veteran Services. So a few different ones that might serve people with varying accessibility needs. And this is not a metro comment per se, but a county one where it seems to be a ready, fire, aim approach with this move. So it feels like maybe you guys are having to catch up alongside them as well. So I don't envy your position in that.
Well, and one last thing, just that even for someone who the distance isn't, tied to their ability or the amount of strain it puts on somebody, there's a disconnect from the sidewalk to get to the actual building, and so that's not safe for anyone.
Not to hog the BRT segment.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry we hijacked the BRT, because that was, again, a comment for the county. Yeah.
We will be doing a refined operating plan that looks at not only the BRT operations, but then the underlying service there on Reading and whether or not there needs to be a deviation over to the facility or how that's going to play out. So that's all still yet to come in the planning that we're doing for BRT. Yep, you're certainly welcome. We have also entered an exciting phase of projects. So we were in project development on Reading Road. We have now entered a new phase, which is called project readiness. And that is when the Federal Transit Administration starts to look underneath the hood, if you will, and go through our plans, go through our financial plans, making sure that we have our emergency operations prepared and that we're ready to launch a BRT service. And so we had our first meeting with what's called the FTA Project Management Oversight Team on June 9th. And essentially at that meeting got to meet the people that we'll be working with over the next several months and working to execute the grant agreement. Next slide. For Hamilton, we are continuing to work. We did get the 30% draft plans from the engineering team, and we have coordinated that with the project partners, which for Hamilton, we have the City of Cincinnati, the City of Mount Healthy, and the City of North College Hill. And so they have all also reviewed the plans and provided comments on that, and we've had follow-up meetings to coordinate on with those particular jurisdictions. So Hamilton is continuing to advance, and we'll be moving that now to the 60% design level as well. And transit-oriented development has been a great topic, and I'm starting to see, I saw a sign up the other day about the midline project, and that's midline of the BRT line. just saying. Developers are starting to get excited. We've had a number of calls to sit and talk with the developers about the opportunities and the certainty of the project and how close can they get and all of the good things about siting next to transit. And so with that, we have had our consultants work on a TOD framework plan. We should have that document by the end of this month. We'll be providing comments back along with the city of Cincinnati. And then once that's final, we will all have that analysis, and we will share that with the board members as well. But essentially, it's a framework that talks about what parts of town right now are ready for development and what parts of town need and what BRT stations need additional help to meet the type of development that the city would like to see there or the neighborhoods have identified through their neighborhood plans. And so it will really be helpful. I like to give the analogy, if somebody comes to you and wants to put a gas station next to a BRT station, that's generally not the type of development that is transit supportive, right? Unless you're way out at the end of the line. But that is the type of framework that we want to provide so that developers, the city, the port, Ready, all of us who are working on projects for development within the city can see what opportunities lie at the BRT stations and around them. Next slide. Oh, that's the last slide, so that's good.
Sharon, I have a question.
Yeah.
On the project engineering slide regarding the Hamilton Avenue corridor and the fact that you're working on the draft design review, you mentioned the city stakeholders. Are there opportunities for selected neighborhood representatives to participate in that process?
In the review of the 30% plans, we have worked with a number of the development corporations already and have met and talked with them about where the station locations, gotten feedback, a lot of really great feedback on that. But on the specific design themselves, we have not gone further than the work that we have done in Clifton to identify the location of the stations and the retaining of the bike lanes and that sort.
So I didn't know if it would be appropriate for them to be in those meetings or not. I just didn't want to forget about them and, have them be surprised by something that comes out of this committee.
Like you mean the community councils in particular?
And the development corporations, yeah.
Oh, so the development.
Like if the city is sort of the representative of, for all those neighborhoods, I'm just wondering if there are more neighborhood-specific eyes that are needed at that stage.
So Sharon, am I understanding, translating here, the community engagement with community councils and the development corporations all along the corridor has occurred, which helped us finalize all of those station locations specifically. And the design work is starting to do the engineering to start to tie those down to the real world. If there was a change in station location, that would bring us back to our stakeholder advisory group with all of those folks to have that consultation. This, correct me if I'm wrong, Sharon, but that might be too granular if that makes any sense.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Thank you for translating.
Yeah. There's been a number of community development corporations that we've specifically met and talked with and reviewed the plans together because they have streetscape plans that we needed to coordinate with already. And so we have done that with everyone along the entire alignment. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. Lots of steps on many different fronts.
Absolutely.
Great to see progress on all of them.
Yeah.
I think we have one more update here, right, on the government square.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a brief update. One, we wrapped up the school year at Government Square since we last met. We had a very good school year. The coordination with our quality of life team, city, CPD, 311, the collaborative team and Metro went really well. The active engagement has really helped with the students. What we saw throughout the year that we averaged every week, we were staying under that 200 students using Government Square in the afternoon, which means they're taking the most direct path, which is great. And it was a positive end to the school year. We had a wrap-up meeting with the managerial level last week, and we will have a preschool, a before-school gear-up meeting before school starts again. So from a quality life perspective, that team is moving full steam ahead, and thanks to Bill Sprawl for his leadership in that. And then, as you all recall, you approved the architecture and urban design contract last month. We quickly had a kickoff meeting with that team. We reviewed the scope to see how quickly we could move that and compress that work to move quickly. We will be kicking off that work with stakeholders here in the coming 2 or 3 weeks. We'd like to get that first stakeholder meeting done in July. At that meeting, we'll be talking about peer systems and what they see in their downtowns, and also an existing conditions review of the square itself. So excited that work is moving and moving quickly. Happy to take any questions relative to Government Square. Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same question that I asked a couple of months ago. How are we measuring success, and who's tracking that?
So on the Metro side, we're measuring taps in the afternoon by students, right? And then we're also tracking if those taps are used by a student who has a direct route home or a student that should be at Government Square, and then we're robocalling those students who have a direct route home and have chosen to use Government Square. So we track that number on a weekly basis, and CPS makes the robocalls during the school year. And what we've seen is, since we've actively engaged, with that number dropped this school year and has stayed low the whole school year, which is really good. So that's a metric that we track on the Metro side. We also track incidents and issues where our supervisors have to get involved. And CPD is also tracking incidents at Government Square. I haven't gotten a report from CPD yet. I don't know, Bill, you and your team meet monthly, and I know the Quality of Life team meets every week. Are you getting data updates from CPD at those meetings?
Yeah, we have gotten some, but it is some difficulties in getting some of that data because there's so many officers from different places. I talked to Captain Schofield, but he's working to get some together.
Yeah. So we track the transit use and the student use on our side, and we rely on CPD to track their things on their side of it.
Thank you. I think getting the data on a regular basis from CPD is important, especially considering the amount of resources that Metro is putting into making sure that can stay safe.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how do we compare from last year, so I can kind of?
Yeah. So if we go back to the very beginning of last school year and the end of the previous school year, which would have been 24-25, at our peak, the PM average was over 400 students, and now we're down to below 200. And that has to do with changing the network and having more direct routes, the robocalls. The other thing that we've seen is CPS's corridor plan is starting to take hold. So the junior highs that we're now serving have students going to school closer to where they live, which means we're not seeing as many transfers in the system. So all of those things combined have really driven down that number from a relative perspective, if that helps.
Okay, good questions. Progress and priorities?
Yeah, I'll be very brief. As you can tell, there's a lot that happens in a month. We've had a very busy month, and we'll have in the middle of the next very busy month this summer. One of the things that we continue to track is the federal legislation. I think I've mentioned this every month, that the United States Congress is working through their 5-year transportation bill. Our current 5-year bill expires September 30. We, along with our national association, are keeping an eye with what is happening in the transit provisions of that bill. So far, the House Committee on Transportation has issued a draft transportation reauthorization bill. We have looked through that draft. It is relatively stable when it comes to major transit funding programs. There is some noise on the CIG front. The good news is that there are only about a dozen or so BRT projects listed in that draft bill, and both of Cincinnati's BRT projects are listed. I also want to temper excitement in that space because this hasn't even yet gone to the House floor, and then we have a whole Senate version that needs to be evaluated and picked through, and each of these are 500-600 pages. We're not too sure that we will have a new transportation bill come September 30. There's a high likelihood that there will be a what we call continuing resolution. So we'll probably be working with the same programs into the next federal fiscal year until Congress decides they pass a bill. So we're tracking that very closely. So far, so good. All of our federal delegation and each of our representatives and senators' offices have been very responsive to our questions, and that communication is good. So keep an eye on this space, and we'll keep you updated of major developments. We covered quite a bit. Number two, the safety issue and the award ceremony, and we're really excited about June 25th, where we get to recognize Clausel Marshall, who is sometimes my bus driver. It's an exciting thing. He'll be inducted as a 2 Million Mile awardee, which is incredible, 30 years of driving without a preventable accident. The third bullet there, we're making progress in maintenance. Some of the things, you've seen kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back when it comes to our overall miles between mechanical road calls. But some of the leading indicators that we use are really starting to see some improvements there. For example, the number of days that buses are out of service, we've reduced by 58%. We're continuing to see miles per road call increase by about 15%. So we're taking those first bites. It's been a ton of work from Bill and Tony Ballmer and team and Jeff Munstock, all to help get that done. So thanks for their efforts.
That's remarkable.
That's
That's been a long time coming, a lot of work.
You
We've
remember
witnessed this.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
You remember we had a third-party consultant report, and they had about 74 findings,
Yes.
right? And so a lot of work being done to make their way through the lowest hanging fruit there. And then that next set of findings are the next most difficult. A lot of it has to do with just the constant good work and making sure that we're process driven. So it's been good work and more to follow. We'll have Tony and team come give you all a report here soon. National attention on our regional transit collaboration. Here in the region, we have 6 different federal recipients. We have that operate public transportation: Claremont County, Warren County, Butler County, Tank, Cincinnati Connector, and Metro. We all get together to make sure that we appropriate federal funds and are compliant with federal regulations as a region. And that's a very collaborative process. And we've had folks from across the country come visit us to see how we do it here, because they might want to do it in their urbanized area, which is really cool. And then lastly, I think on a very serious note, but an important note, you've kind of seen when there are challenges and issues in the community, be it mental health challenges, substance abuse, gun violence, things that happen in our neighborhoods show up in public spaces, and that includes the bus. And we have had a couple of incidents in the last couple months that have, brought attention to the system, but also ask us, are we doing everything we can in those spaces to make sure that we're contributing to as safe a community as we possibly can. So James Henderson, the local ATU leader here, and I met with Prosecutor Pillich. We continue to meet with other folks in the community to make sure that we feel that the bus is a public space, but we feel like it is a special public space. And we ask our employees to operate 24/7 in every corner of the community, and we should be doing everything we can do and listening to all those partners to see what role do we play in making sure everybody goes home safe every night. So that work continues. We'll take any feedback that you all have as leaders in the community of how we have productive conversations and take productive steps in that space. So thanks to James Henderson and ATU too for their partnership. It's been a great dialogue, and it's been great partnership and collaboration as we continue to learn. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? How about new business? Hearing none? Okay, here we go.
I want to circle back to the matter regarding the county building. One of the things that I appreciate about the BRT process is the level of community engagement that we've had. And so I wonder if there's an opportunity for us to engage with folks who use services at that Bond Hill location, similar to how we did with folks in Clifton who wanted to move the BRT stop. I don't know where we are in the process. I know that there's a sort of rough timeline here, but if there's an opportunity to do that, I would love for us to consider.
Great idea.
Raquel, the only thing I was going to mention was the same subject. The more we can interact with the population there, the clients and the employees, the better off we're all going to be. So there's some good opportunities there for improvement, I think, at that location.
And I think we are also learning about ridership data, right? That stop was not used like it is now.
Yeah, things have changed.
And that is still changing, and we're very recent in terms of those services locating there and how often and how frequently people are stopping are using transit to get there. So we've met as recently as last week with folks from the county. So I know they did some surveying. To your point, we might want to double down on engagement there and see what we can learn.
And you're reporting out in September on the subject, is that what you said? You have another follow-up report on that location in September. What did you mention earlier about that?
So
about the county building and that route?
We were going to cover in July our Metro Now launch in August, which includes a modified boundary to the Metro Now zone.
Okay.
But we're actively having those discussions with the county right now, so we can provide an update to the board next month about where we are there and the larger issue of interface with BRT. We'll dig in there and get some information back too. Great.
One, just an additional consideration, because we think about the services that people receive there, but I believe that the county commissioners are moving or either have moved there, so county hearings will be there. And so there's a civic sort of engagement piece of this that people need access to be able to attend those public hearings. And I think we have an opportunity to make it accessible and comfortable for folks to participate in county government.
And they can be ambassadors for the system. The better they experience, the more likely they would be to be ambassadors if they attend those hearings and say how convenient that system was.
Great. Look forward to hearing more about that.
Yep.
Any other new business comments? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.